Welcome back to He's on Fire podcast. We're just going to bring in the whole crew right away with this one. I just kind of want to go through the state of Arizona sports. All the big sports teams. I mean, a lot has happened the last few months. I mean, since COVID, it seems like it's been a blessing for the Arizona sports markets. And I just want to kind of roll through it. I mean, the Merc did good tonight. The Cardinals are 5-0. Suns coming off their championship run. And we're just going to talk some sports, man. And we're going to have some fun tonight. Roy, what's going on? Thank you for chiming in already, my guy. So, yeah, without further ado, guys, you ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. Of course, we got to bring in the awesome intro that I just love, and it gets me fired up. I hope everybody enjoyed the Mercury game tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed beating San Francisco and the Bay Area teams. Big games this weekend. We'll talk about it. He's on Fire podcast.
Let's go. She sets. Looks up. And it is caught. Dylan Strong. That's coming. Matthews. Palmer extending the play. Crosses the field. Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald is insane to the 4-yard line. Crowder looking, throws it alley. Oh! He puts it down. He puts it down. They're getting a little wobbly. Philadelphia just out of you. The foot race. They won't get it. Center field. The Diamondbacks are world champions.
Here we go. Roundtable. Arizona sports. As I said, it's been kind of nice since COVID started for the Arizona sports teams, and maybe that's what it needed. Just what are your initial thoughts when I tell you that since COVID started, it's been great for Arizona sports? Amit, is that accurate to you?
I think it was a great sort of restart for the Suns. I think the Cardinals, we kind of knew the trajectory was kind of changing with Kyler and Cliff and the whole squad. I mean, the Diamondbacks are stuck in, wherever they are. But
you can't be right all the time with everything.
Right. But yeah, overall, I think, definitely for us as Valley fans, this is a good time.
Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, ever since COVID, just Arizona's teams have been popping. Like that 5-month break in the middle of the NBA season, I think the Suns really benefited off that. Just being young and stuff. Just basically everything that Amit said. Like ever since COVID hit, Arizona sports has just been popping. Diamondbacks were a little good before COVID, but whatever. I don't know the status of the Coyotes, but main sports, I'm more than pleased.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't get any more. You can't be any more happy with where things have gone and the trajectory, as Amit talks about. You guys, thank you for coming in. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. I hope that everybody watching enjoys our podcast today. Please go ahead and subscribe, share this out, listen on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that fun stuff. I want to talk about the Phoenix Suns to start with. I thought it was very interesting today that we beat the Blazers by 40 plus, given it's only preseason. And just a few seasons ago, I remember only being able to get excited on draft night and opening night, thinking maybe this is that weird team that starts it all off. And it was in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. I went out to Buffalo Wild Wings. That's where my friends wanted to go who weren't huge basketball fans. They went out there and I joined them. I turned the game on. I had my Suns gear for the first time in like 8 months that I actually rocked it. And we lost by like 40 plus. Yep. And then, you come into tonight, and again, only preseason, and it almost feels like we were full circle in a way. Not really, but in a way, it can kind of feel like that. And the Suns' trajectory has just been incredible since the bubble, and nobody can take that away from them. No injuries, no whatever, right? But how soon, Jay, do you think we can win a championship? Can we win this year? Are we 2 years away? 3, 4 years? Jay, what do you think?
I'm drinking like gallons of Kool-Aid right now. Like this could be the Suns' year. Like I said a couple podcasts before, like if we had JaVale and Shaman last year, I feel like we would have won it. I think it's anybody's game right now. The Lakers, it's going to take a while for them to click. Jamal Murray's still not back yet. Like Utah's Utah. Like, and then the Nets have all this drama going on right now. The Bucks are just whatever right now. So I think we can really win it this year. I'm not really scared of any team. Even Kawhi, he's probably not going to be back this year. So
I gotta admit, I'm a little bit afraid of the Bulls from the things that I've been seeing with them in preseason. Not trying to overreact.
Yeah.
I'm just saying they look nice, and you need to keep an eye
Bulls
out for
look
them
nice,
in the East.
yeah.
They look nice right now. Amit, Phoenix Suns trajectory, is it win or bust this year? Are we another player or two away in your mind? 2 or 3 years away? What do you think?
No, this is the year. We're in a point where we're locked in with the Bucks right now. So we're in a point where we're going to be in battles with them because they're the only teams that have really had the same continuity from last season, and that's championship level continuity. If you look at everybody else, no one has. The only team you can compare is maybe Utah, which they made some adjustments around on the edges of their team, but they didn't make any differences to like the core or upgrading anything in particular. So and then in the East, I mean, there's some things, the Bulls, yeah, but none of those players actually have any winning pedigree in terms of,
Correct.
maybe, right?
Correct.
So
Never done
we
it
have
before.
to see that gel together in the playoffs. And usually you don't do it in your first year. Usually you see it come together after that year. Well, we're in that year now. We're in that year where we went to the finals. We shouldn't have been there, or, because of injuries, they say. So now we've got that team together. We've upgraded it. The players on that team are more solidified in their roles than they've ever been. If you watch the preseason, they're in cruise control. Like, it reminds me in like April, May last year in the regular season where we would just like stomp people and you just knew what was going to happen. And that's what they're doing in the regular season. The difference is that Landry Shamet is a massive upgrade over Javon Carter. And he's got that playmaking ability, which Javon Carter never had the ability to play make. So that's a new thing. And then Mikal and Cam are just better this year off the dribble. So that is definitely something we need to keep our eyes on with what they can do. Obviously, the big thing lingering, the elephant in the room, is the extensions. And but that's outside of what this team can do. What this team can do this season with who they have, this is championship or bust.
Yeah, and I want to hit the extension talk real quick. Everybody's comparing it to Joe Johnson. Like, I can't compare it to Joe Johnson. Joe Johnson ended up getting the type of deal that he wanted overall when he went to Atlanta, but to stay with the Suns, he wanted like 4 years, 32 mil. Like, this is a completely different type of contract. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't Marion at the time. He wasn't Stat. He wasn't Steve Nash. You know what I mean? He was that backup point guard when Nash would go out. He was the first dude that would get subbed out for Barbosa. It's just completely different. And everything that I want to believe about Sarver that is changing kind of leads down to this. Because even Sarver said not signing Joe Johnson was one of his biggest mistakes he's ever made. So then, you see TMZ coming out and Ayton and Sarver are actually talking and meeting, which a lot of people were like, oh, they're not even talking and blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, we don't even know what's going on. I do know that
whole TMZ thing was out of control because they're like, oh, this has been this is a messy contract thing. And it's like, it actually hasn't been at all because we don't know the details. All we're hearing is that he hasn't signed yet and there's still 5 days. And all that DeAndre Ayton said is that he's disappointed that the deal hasn't been done. Well, yeah, everybody's disappointed that the deal's not done. I'm sure Sarver's disappointed that the deal's not done. I don't think that's like, these angry words or these frustrated words. I think we still got 5 days to figure it out. And if it doesn't happen, as you mentioned, Coach, we still got the whole season. And at the end of the season, if he signs somewhere as a restricted free agent, we have the ability to match it. So, it is what it is.
Exactly. I think he's going to be here for a long time. Flex said it. As I said, whenever Flex says something, dude, like it write it down in ink and that's going to be the word. real quick, getting kind of back to what you guys have already talked about, this being the year, I feel it. I feel like a lot of things are in our favor. The teams that worried me in the West were the Lakers, mostly because of the sexy names and the NBA's agenda, which is a very real thing. And I just don't know how that's going to work, dude. I just don't know how that's going to work. I think they're going to be on Shaqtin' a Fool every night. And we could be wrong. Anthony Davis could come back and be that dude, and LeBron could be that dude, but now he's another year older, right? Just a lot of weird things are playing in our favor, including Kyrie. Now, with that being said, with the Kyrie situation on the net side, dude, if he comes back and the mandate is lifted or he gets the vaccine, which if anybody's seen his IG post today, that's probably not going to happen. But I mean, if he does, that's kind of like the cherry on the top there for that team. And then I could see that team just clicking and rolling just exclusively because of the talent. I'm still worried about Milwaukee because now I'm seeing Giannis pull up from the mid-range, from the elbow and hitting it. Just like what he did to us. He was hitting all this ridiculous shit that he'd never hit before, but now it looks like he's practiced a few of those things and he looks good. I'm worried about them. In the West, I'm honestly not worried about anybody, man. I'm worried about Milwaukee and I'm worried about the Nets, excuse me. So I feel like we got JaVale McGee to combat that. I feel like we got Landry Shamet to combat that as well, too. Just extra ball handling and playmaking on the outside. We've all seen what JaVale McGee can do. It was no surprise to me. It's really funny seeing all these Suns fans going out be like, wow, look what JaVale do. Oh, he's bringing this, he's bringing that. And I'm just kind of like, well, yeah, that's like exactly who he is and who he has been. And I was able to envision this right when we signed him. I thought it was the perfect signing. So I really feel like it's this year. We know how to win now. We didn't know how to win going into last year. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And now it just looks like it's same old, same old. They understand the value of the game. They understand the value of the possessions. They understand how to play team defense. They understand the rotations. They understand everything. And they have the mindset to go with it. And if we lose a game here, they're not going to worry about it because this team's proven when they do lose a game, they're going to come back and get a W the next game. Granted, in the finals is a different story, but that's the finals, playoff series, different type of basketball. You're not going to play the Hornets one night and then play the Magic the next night, right? So they know how to win. That is like ingrained in their DNA. And I said I think this team is a 54-win team just based on teams gunning for them and things along that line. And maybe we rest Chris Paul here or there, but I really want to push that 60-win threshold. I would love to, but at the same time, I don't want to be pedal to the metal the whole time because I'm worried about the playoffs. Jay, you said you think it's this year too. The additions that we made, everything that I said, respond with some Suns takes. Like, just take the floor, man.
So I've watched a little bit of the preseason stuff, and the fact that we're blowing out teams like 30 plus in the last 4 preseason games is a good sign. Like JaVale looks good. Shaman's shooting is like his jumper got a little bit better. Like he used to be kind of sloppy when he plants his feet, but he's he has a good stroke and a good feet placement and stuff. But like you said, I'm not intimidated by any team really in the West. But with the Nets situation, it's a little weird because the Kyrie situation, if this is equivalent to having like a season-ending injury, if you want to think about it that way.
You could put it that way. Sure. I see that.
Yeah. So there's kind of no room for error with KD and Harden. But what's weird about that Nets team is that they don't really have a good supporting cast. So it's either they're going to get gassed early or start picking up the pace after Christmas. Just like how you said, I'm not really intimidated like I used to be. I used to hate going against the Clippers. I used to
Clippers, Lakers, Spurs.
Yeah. So I'm feeling real good about this season, especially if everybody stays healthy. And if we don't get the signing done within 5 days, cool. And if DeAndre Ayton has another season to prove like what he can do, this could be like his give me the fucking max here and like just go absolutely insane. So
I do want to school you a little bit on the Brooklyn Nets roster. I do think they actually have a pretty good roster topped up. I think it's a little bit better than last year. You know, LaMarcus Aldridge is apparently healthy and he's going to be playing. Let me get rid of that so I don't hide Amit's face. And then you've got obviously Javon Carter, Nicholas Claxton, KD, obviously, Blake Griffin. He did a couple more things last year than a lot of people thought. Obviously, Kyrie, Mike James is back. LOL. Joe Harris, we know about. James Johnson. Y'all know who James Johnson is and what he did to DeAndre Ayton when he was with the Mavs. So they got a little bit of fight in them. Tyler Johnson, Patty Mills, Paul Millsap.
Patty Mills. Yeah.
So I mean, they do have some things there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
But
it's a little bit better.
They changed like the middle portion of the rotation again, and so now they have to figure out how to play together. You know, And then if Kyrie's not playing, it's a whole like it's all almost like they're going to be a work in progress the entire season.
You're right, but who's the starting point guard now? Is it Patty Mills? It's not Javon Carter, right?
Yeah,
not Mike James.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that scares me about that team is Kevin Durant, because you put any guys around that dude at this point in his career, he's like he can just destroy anybody. Like we saw it in the Olympics. Like you just put other 4 guys around him, and he'll figure out a way to win the game. So in that sense, yes, like they do have a better roster, but then you know that there's always injuries, and their team is just. I think they're not as deep as we think because they're relying on some guys that have big names, but that aren't necessarily like consistent with injuries, right? So seeing Blake Griffin play an entire season as a role player is different than seeing him come in at the buyout time and put in good numbers in the playoffs. You know, it's a different thing. So, so we have to see how that plays out.
And who knows what the buyout market's going to be? Who knows what the trade deadline is going to be?
Exactly.
I would expect the Suns to be buyers, unless something terrible, happens. You would expect them to be buyers. You expect the Nets to be buyers, the Lakers, the same old team. So we're all in agreement here that the Phoenix Suns, like this really could be the year. And I haven't felt confident about that since, I don't even know if I was confident back in 2007, 8, and 9. I wasn't confident in 04 when we first did it. I didn't think we were going to go into the season and be that good. Amari's out the next year, and then we trade Shaq for Marion at the deadline, and we're the 8th seed and we lose. So I haven't been like confident in a while, and I'm feeling really good about it. And I don't feel cocky about it either. I feel comfortable. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does, because I talked to Lakers fans and I'm just they're not understanding like what they saw, but I'm just like, look, man, like they're like, we have a good team. We have Kendrick Nunn, and I'm like, okay, you have Kendrick Nunn. Nobody wanted that guy. You have Lamar Odom, or not? Sorry, not Lamar Odom. You probably might as well have Lamar Odom, but you have Trevor Ariza. Like that guy doesn't contribute anything. Like go ahead.
It's the players.
Yeah.
What we just said about the Nets, it's the players. What we just said about the Lakers, it's the players. Anybody want to talk about scheme? Anybody want to talk about continuity? Anybody want to talk about winning brand of basketball and how the Suns just happen to get their hands on how many basketballs a game and tips just go their way because they're the ones diving on the floor and all that? You know what I mean? No, they talk about the name. We got Kendrick Nunn. Oh, we got this guy. Oh, we got Ariza. Oh, and then we just signed the center DeAndre Jordan. All that BS. It's just the same Andre
Nets.
Drummond. Yeah, same Andre Drummond talk as last year.
Yeah.
Oh, and one more thing. Tonight, Alfred Payton, he's actually looking like a little mini Chris Paul. He had 9 assists, 7 boards, no turnovers. What the fuck? So,
dude,
yeah,
everybody's looking good.
We're going to be, it's the system, dude. 0.5 offense. Get everybody involved. It's the system. Get back on defense and understand your rotations. Like when you watch the Phoenix Suns on defense, watch the rotations. They don't stick with one guy, dude.
Yep.
They don't. They stick to the rotations. They almost play not a zone and not a man. I forget the term for it. I'm tired, you guys.
Man-to-man zone.
Yeah, it's something similar to that, but they just stick to the rotations. The guy goes over there, oh, he's got him. I'm just going to go right back over here, and they don't tire themselves out on that. And now instead of seeing Dario Saric in the middle, you're going to see JaVale McGee in the back, and that just brings eight? That brings 8 to 10 points free lobs that we had to work for last year. That brings 2 to 3 blocks, however many rebounds. I mean, Dario for his size was actually a pretty damn good rebounder, so I won't take that away from him at all. But we do lose a little playmaking up top, but Dario was so up and down that I just
and JaVale's playmaking from the high post is actually really good.
Mhm.
Like he can make some crazy passes from the high post.
Right.
He can just see over everybody and throw it over everybody with those damn arms. So Phoenix Suns, we think it's this year. Oh my God, we think it's this year. I hope it's this year. Hold on, that deserves this.
He's on fire.
Absolutely. So we need to talk about the Arizona Cardinals next, right? Arizona Cardinals. 3 seasons ago, Steve Wilkes, Josh Rosen. What the fuck? The worst football I've seen in the desert since I can remember. I mean, I watched some 3-13 teams back at Sun Devil Stadium that showed more heart than what they did. Kyler Murray comes in, yada, yada, yada. We're 5-0. I want to talk about the game a little bit while we're here. I thought it was interesting the way we won the game. I was frustrated during the game. I thought Kyler Murray wasn't 100% there. You saw it with the pass that he missed to DeAndre Hopkins in the second quarter for a potential second touchdown. Like, it just didn't seem like he was 100% there, but championship teams find ways to win. And winning in the trenches, especially on the defensive line side of it, was something we haven't done in a long time. Now, if the 49ers won, I would have said their MVP was their defensive line because their defensive line was studly. We won. I'm going to give the MVP of the game to our defensive line. So we won in the trenches, even when Rodney Hudson went out. Max Garcia came in, deer in the headlights, looked like trash. A drive later, we go all the way down the field and we score, which ended up being the game-winning drive, like, overall. So we had guys filling in, picking up the protections, and doing just enough in the trenches to win. I came away with the game pissed off after I've thought about it. I'm a lot happier about it with the way that we won. Amit, thoughts on that game and how we won?
Yeah, so, they moved the ball pretty regularly on us. They didn't score a lot, but they were moving the ball. And that, it's not a good game to really gauge the defense because the Niners really didn't have an offensive game plan. Like, it was every 3rd and 7, 3rd and 5, it was like, okay, Trey Lance is going to run the ball.
Right.
And that's just a recipe for a disaster because it's a surprise that guy did not get hurt at the goal line. Like, he's taken on 2 defenders trying to force his way in.
Stuffed, bro.
And Isaiah Simmons ends up in the 10. He should have been in the 10. Do you guys remember when Carson Wentz did that and his ACL got blown out?
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So it's like, you got to know your spots. Rookie quarterbacks do that sort of thing. But it's like, if that's your whole offense, it's not Lamar Jackson back there. It's not Russell Wilson that can actually evade tackles and is actually, like, elite runner. Or Kyler even. You got a guy he's pretty good at running the ball. He's kind of like a Robert Griffin type of guy. We'll have to see how their offensive develops.
Shanahan protege, by the way.
Exactly. So, I wasn't impressed with the Niners offense, and I definitely wasn't impressed with our defense against that coverage because I thought we could do better against that type of quarterback.
Well, also with Marco Wilson and Byron Murphy being out. Also,
you have to take that into consideration that we had those guys out. So the second and I'll give Trey Lance some credit that he was able to buy time and just wait for receivers to get open, which he did on probably 4 or 5 plays for first downs. Our offense, here's the thing with Kyler. I think he's kind of in his bag too much right now. Like, I think he's a little bit more confident, and I don't think so what he's doing, right? Like, he's gotten away with it where he'll basically do a spin move to get out of a sack. Yeah. And he tried that twice in this game. He tried it against the Rams too, and he got sacked. It worked the first part of the season. It worked his first 2 years, but you can't rely. You have to find a way to step up in the pocket. Like, he's got to go watch some Tom Brady, video on how to sense the pocket collapsing and just step up and make throws, or even just step up and run. Because even chances like there was a play with Trey Lance where he threw the interception to Budda Baker where he
could have run for 20 yards, man,
and he threw that pick, and he could have picked up first down easily. So,
absolutely.
so I think there's room for Kyler to grow, which is great because he's already having like an MVP season. So we can't, and he didn't throw an interception, so that's good.
Mhm.
But he did take those sacks, which is kind of like an interception.
One of them got us out of field goal range too, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. So it took points off the board either way. But I was happy with the game plan. And Rondale Moore, man, Rondale Moore, dude,
the truth.
Electric.
That
Jesus.
catch was insane, bro.
Electric, absolutely electric. And I sat his ass in favor of AJ Green because AJ Green had the good game last time. So now I'm switching it up going into next week.
How nice is it that we like Andy Isabella doesn't even smell the field now?
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
I'd never heard of him before.
Let's forget
I have
about
no
him.
idea who you're talking about.
Is he on the practice squad? Or?
He ain't even on the punt team. On special teams. Jay, before we talk about the state of the current Cardinals, what did you think of the game?
So just like you, I left the game kind of mad. I was like, "What the fuck was that?" But after sitting with the game and watching film and the highlights and stuff, I want to give
Quest for the West, of course, right?
Yeah, exactly. I want to give Alex in the defensive line, the Niners defensive line credit. And who's the defensive coordinator for the Niners?
Oh,
It's not Saleh anymore.
It's not Saleh anymore. I forget the dude's name.
Well, whoever it is, they knew they had to step up this game if they were going to have a chance, and they did a great job. They were blowing up the line, just at all angles.
Even with Rodney Hudson, yeah.
With Rodney Hudson, Justin Pugh, he couldn't necessarily keep the guys in front. So shout out to the Niners D line; they did a great job, but that they put the pressure on Kyler the whole game, and what do you know, in the second half it starts clicking. But Rondale Moore, like, what can you say about him? Like, he's insane. That catch, like, it didn't even look like he got his toes in, but that was a vet catch. Like, like the best receivers in the league can't even do that. So great catch, and what a throw from Kyler too. That was a
Hail Mary type throw running
Yes,
to
it was.
that
Same
side of the
thing.
field.
Yep.
Yeah, like we didn't have much of a run game, but the Niners D line has been good relatively all season. So there's that, but the side of the ball that deserves MVP, you're right, is the RD line. JJ Watt, even though he didn't get the tackles and the sacks and stuff, he was all over the field.
He was beating everybody.
Zach Allen, he was everywhere.
Yep.
Yes.
Chandler Jones was crashing inside the pocket every time. And then Budda Baker all over the field in the back.
Everywhere.
Yeah, he's everywhere. So
Jalen Thompson too. He had a great game.
Jalen Thompson, yeah, like, he's stepped up big. And like, I didn't feel like I knew there wasn't an offensive plan. They weren't really throwing the ball like that. But still, even if Jimmy G was playing, like, I don't think the results would be any different. So
yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
In fact, I was a little nervous with Trey Lance, man, when I forget when exactly it was in the game, but I think maybe we were tied, or it was 10-7 or something like that. No, it was 10-0. But there was a time in a game where I thought when we gave up a turnover or something, they were just going to go and they were going to march down and score, and that was just kind of going to be it. They got a turnover on us. That's what it was. And that's when they all went to the end zone and they took the classic L picture of them all sitting there, right? But I thought during that time we were going to give up a score there, and that was going to be it.
Yeah.
And our defense just stepped the fuck up. It was really an incredible performance by them, and they won the game. But as Cardinals fans, it left a lot to be desired. At the end of the episode, I want to preview going into the Cleveland game because I have a lot of thoughts on that one as well too. But state of the Cardinals right now, I think we are in a brighter position than we were at any time in the Carson Palmer era. And what I mean by that is there was an end of that tunnel, right? You knew, okay, maybe it's this year. Okay, maybe it's this year. Carson Palmer was going to be gone. Bruce Arians then leaves, and it just all went to shit. But now with Cliff figuring it out, I mean, Cliff is almost all but guaranteed coming back next year. Kyler's obviously going to come back next year. Kyler's going to sign whatever max deal that the Cardinals can offer him to, And Kyler Murray is going to be here for a very, very long time. He could be a 10-year vet, by the time it's all said and done, and maybe 12, maybe 15 years. So the Arizona Cardinals are just looking so bright right now. It's weird to have the Suns and Cardinals on the same trajectory with not only players that wear number 1 that are damn near close to the same age too.
Yep.
So the Arizona Cardinals, how many years are we away from a championship? Is it this season? Are we just a couple players away? 2 or 3 years? Jay, what do you think?
Okay. So I kind of have a lengthy answer. I think it's anybody's game this season. There's a lot of good teams, a lot of good talent out there. When it comes to the NFC, Green Bay, Bucks, the Rams, those are some high caliber teams, and it's going to be tricky going through those guys. But I'm not going to say this year is our year, maybe next year, but I wouldn't be surprised if we meet the Bills in the Super Bowl. So, this is a really good team. We clap the Rams. If we beat the Browns tomorrow, I think we're.
Sunday.
I think we're. Sunday. I'm looking forward to the NFC Championship with us in it, because I thought this 3-game stretch with the Rams, Niners, and Browns would kind of determine our season. And if we go 3-0 in them, I don't see us tanking. So those are my thoughts. Yeah.
Amit, what do you think?
Yeah,
Is it this year? Is it next year? What is it?
This is a possible year. It all comes down to Kyler's health, because we started the season very strong last year, and we just couldn't finish because he wasn't healthy, and it changed our game plan. And the last time I remember we were 4-0 is when we beat the Patriots in Foxborough with Kevin Cobb at quarterback, when Patrick Peterson got this tip interception on Brady.
2012, 2011, something like that.
20. Yeah. It might have been 2012. But that team, if you guys remember, were 4-0, and then we ended up with 5 wins the whole season.
Yep.
So this isn't that team for sure, because this team has a legit defense with veterans and defensive players that can play at the next, that playmaking ability, the Pro Bowl level. This year there's a potential we can go to the Super Bowl, but there's a few teams that worry me. And against the Niners, we got 3 4th-and-1 stops, right? Are we getting 3 4th-and-1 stops against Tom Brady?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably
right?
not.
Probably not.
4th and 4 too. And Kyle Shanahan had supreme confidence to keep going for it on 4th down. I don't know what he was thinking, because he did not try to play the field position game the way his defense was playing. But anyways, so yeah, over the next few years, it kind of really rides on Kyler and Cliff. So now the fact that Cliff has bought himself time, it's probably – see, the thing is, I would have said – because I don't think Cliff is really the best quarterback, the best championship quarterback for us, or coach, I should say, head coach. I think it would be better if we paired Kyler with somebody else. But now that he's bought time, it kind of puts us in that sort of middle area where it's yeah, we can be good, but it's all based on Kyler versus scheme, or versus just better coaching. And not to say that Cliff hasn't done a good job in play calling this year, but that's not saying a lot, considering he did a shitty job the last 2 years, right?
Correct.
So if we add Eric Bieniemy, let's say everything went wrong and then Eric Bieniemy was a coach next year, we're talking about 3, 4, 5 year run as a Super Bowl contender, right?
I would agree.
So it's almost like we're in the what if kind of thing. It's just we're on this weird timeline where now we're kind of married to this coach and quarterback and GM. So, and Keim has done us well this year. So we're going to have, we'll just have to see how injuries and how other things play out.
You need real chemistry, and I'm lacking the word of what I really want, collective togetherness. I think synergy is really the best word when you talk about a coach and a GM. And we have that with the Suns. And nobody can say differently. We have that with the Suns. This could be a staff that's together for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
How incredible would that be? We'd be so fortunate to have that. When it comes to the Cardinals, it just seems like with Keim, Is it this year? Is it this year? Is it this year? And it's been like that since what, 2016? So for the past 5 years. And now it's really tied to Cliff Kingsbury. But if Cliff does good this year, next year, bombs out for another 2 years afterwards, Kai might still have a job here and Cliff won't. So it's a weird, what you said, this weird middle ground. I don't know if it's necessarily middle ground. I think it's middle to high tier. Like, I think we're definitely, for the next 3 to 5 years, we're probably at least a top 12 team, which is definitely playoffs.
Sure.
Mhm.
So we're definitely that top tier, but what do we need to get over that edge? And I agree with you. I don't know if Cliff is that guy. I don't. The way he's been calling plays has been great, but then we get games against Minnesota. We get the first half against Jacksonville. We get this game where I said it on this podcast. I was like, dude, against this defensive line, I don't know if I want to be calling all these types of plays that you're doing, because the plays that he called were ones where the routes needed time to develop and the wide receivers needed to get open. Hence the reason I felt like Kyler was rushing a few things. There weren't a lot of dink and dunks. There were a couple end arounds or something like that with Rondale Moore, which we all love and we want more of. But it just seemed like it took time to develop, and I felt like that wasn't the right strategy to go against this team. You know what I mean? Yeah, he had a couple slants. He had a big first down to D-Hop on one against Josh Norman, and there were some nice things in there, but nothing was consistent. After that first drive, dude, nothing was consistent.
I thought they were going to put up 40 points after that first drive.
Dude, exactly. Yeah. So he also has room to grow. And the good thing is we've seen development from Cliff Kingsbury, right? We saw it from year 1 to the start of year 2, and then he flamed out. Okay, so now he's starting again, and now he's 5-0. Okay, so we've gotten the start of the year figured out. How does Cliff take it to where other teams start adjusting against him? How do you adjust to the adjustment? That's a huge thing in coaching, you guys. Like, anybody that doesn't know, that is a huge thing that we talk about during timeouts. Okay, now they're doing this. Now they're doing that. That was one of the things that made me so successful, is I could see it. Boom, call a timeout, bring him in, do ABC, go out. Dude, we win the game, even if we have 6 guys on the team. You have to adjust to the adjustment. I don't know if Cliff is to that level yet, and we're definitely going to find out. But I would say, the trajectory is on the same path as the Suns. I'm not as confident. We're talking about a top 3 team in the West for however many years we want to with the Suns for the foreseeable future, right? With the Cardinals, you could see some slippage. I think we all could kind of agree to that to a point. Like, we're not just gaining traction every single year. Like, we can see, a downward spiral, because it happened last year. So until Cliff proves us otherwise, we're just in a wait and see. But fuck you guys, it's enjoyable right now. We're 5-0, first time since 74, 70, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Kyler's electric. We have 4 wideouts that can do anything, anytime, anywhere with the best of them. We have a defensive line that won us a game against one of the more physical offensive lines, and a running quarterback, which we've always struggled against. We've done very good against the run this year to a point. Derrick Henry, Elijah Mitchell didn't really go off. I'm more confident against the run, and we were missing a couple DBs. So, like, at the end of the day, a win's a win, and it's hard to get a win in the NFL. So I could see it this year being the year. Crazy things happen. You put a guy like Kyler Murray on the big show, like, who knows? He could throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. But I think we would be remiss to say that we're at a lock this year, and I think we're still 2 to 3 years out, unfortunately, and that makes me sad. But we don't have Steve Wilkes as a coach, so I call that a win.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kyler is so young that we don't even know what his prime is going to look like.
That's true.
Because, like, I mean, you guys can appreciate when you watch Aaron Rodgers and he makes these throws, and you're just like, oh my God, man! Like, how do you fit that in? Like, how do you see that angle? How can your arm do that? And Kyler has been showing signs where he's making some throws like that. And that's where I'm saying, like, he's a little bit too much in his bag, where he needs to just kind of like focus on some of the basics. But he can have that ability. There's nothing in me that tells me that he can't be like that good.
Absolutely.
He's throwing 75%. His completion rate is 75%.
1,500 yards through 5 weeks. And that's like the first time since Brady and Was it Aaron Rodgers? I forget who it was.
It was Manning.
Is it Manning?
Yeah.
Manning,
Brady and Peyton, elite company. I
Yeah.
mean, how much better can he get? That's a question for another podcast. That's a whole segment, for Christ's sake. But how much better can he get? You know, how much better can our left tackle get? That's still pretty young. You know, how much better can Chase Edmonds get? How much better can our whole defense? Can Budda Baker, Isaiah Simmons, Zaven Collins, Marco Wilson, Byron Murphy, Jalen Thompson, Zach Allen? How much better can these guys get year after year? And let's not forget, I called out and I talked a lot of shit on Vance Joseph. Vance Joseph is proving his worth this year, in my opinion. Jay, would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, just take that Niners game, for example. Like, we held that Niners team to 10. Yeah, Trey Lance is the QB, but holding any team at 10 is pretty impressive, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And, like, Trey Lance was always on the run. Even if he wanted to throw it, like, he couldn't just stay in the pocket. So, like,
yeah, we knocked him off his spot for sure.
Yeah, so shout out to Vance Joseph, and like this Cleveland game coming up is definitely going to prove his worth. So,
yeah, he's made some really good second half adjustments. Where if you go and look at how many points other teams have scored on us in the second half, and it's like single digits for every single game.
Yeah.
Versus the first half where they probably scored a lot more. So he's actually done a lot in the second half to adjust. I don't know if that's Cliff or him. I'm sure it's just him though. I don't know how much Cliff is looking at the defense. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely proven his worth.
I completely agree. And it's crazy how far we've come. The one thing I would really, really, really love to see Cliff as an actual offensive coordinator, though. I really would like to see that. That's just me. But this is the dynamic we have. This is what we're dealing with. And they're both growing. How much better can they be? I want to get to some Diamondback stuff. We got to talk about the Merc winning tonight. I want to talk some Arizona State Sun Devils, but you know what? It's that time. Word from our sponsor. Stand by. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's easy. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Anchor.fm. Go get started today. So let's touch on something that you guys don't really know much about, and honestly I don't either, but you know, I still follow it to a point. I still follow the scores. I still want to know what's going on. I want them to do good. When they went to the Western Conference Finals in spring of 12, I think it was what it was. You know, I was watching that whole playoff run, and I remember the team back in the day just being an insane place to go see a playoff hockey game with that whiteout. The Arizona, Phoenix, Scottsdale Coyotes, whatever they're called now, that don't even have an owner, have been bad for 20 years. Ever since they moved out to that stupid ass arena that they should have never done.
Gila River.
Just a horrible mistake. They should have gone to Los Arcos. They should have figured something out to stay closer. Then they get into the Wayne Gretzky scandal. Rick Tocchet came and hasn't done a lot. They changed logos. They just did absolutely everything wrong. Bringing back the Kachina logo just to start with was a win. That automatically brings back a fan base, and it just makes it feel like it's ours again. Okay. And then the NHL going back to ESPN and making it accessible, I think is a big win for the league. Because, dude, how many people go and watch NBC Sports Network just randomly, like compared to ESPN? It's no question. ESPN's more. I'm not the biggest hockey guy. I love playing NHL Live. Hockey games are one of the better sports games, in my opinion, along with soccer, because it's just nonstop back and forth. And I mean, I like hockey. I enjoy it. I have fun with it. I love USA hockey. I love the Olympic hockey and the open ice. Holy shit, that's fun. So when you talk about the Arizona Coyotes, it's not like I have a diehard passion. I don't have any jerseys. I mean, I had one when I was younger. You guys don't watch it as much either. If they were good, it might be a little bit different, but they're not. And they haven't been for a very, very, very long time. And they're probably projected to be one of the lower teams this year. But something just tells me that I just get a feeling they're going to be a little bit better. And things are going to start upticking for them. I don't know that for sure, obviously, because I don't watch and all that fun stuff yet. But I just get that. And the vibe that I'm getting from Twitter posts, articles that I'm reading also tells me the same. I'm going to leave the floor open to you guys. Talk Coyotes just real quick. Any comments?
It's funny because like I'm not that big of a hockey fan. I remember like Jeremy Roenick and Shane Doan.
Absolutely.
Those guys way back in the day. I remember Roenick was just Roenick, Keith Kachuk. I remember those guys were just ballers. Like Roenick, he would give an interview with his fucking jaw was wired shut, and he's like, "I'm just trying to play in the playoffs." Like it's just like, it's just like I remember that shit, and that's the cool part about
Dallas
hockey.
Drake and Tocchet and
Tocchet,
Teppo Numminen.
That's the guy I was thinking of.
Hobby Boulin.
But the best part is, about hockey is seeing it live. Like that's the best part about hockey.
Oh, for sure.
Going to a game live. I remember going to the Roadrunners games when I was a kid. If you guys remember the Roadrunners,
absolutely.
Yeah. I used to go to those games as a kid, and it's just so fun to see hockey live. I'm not a fan because I just like it's all. When I was young, it was like Patrick Waugh and the Avalanche and the Red Wings,
Yzerman and Fedorov. Yeah.
Right.
What was the dope goalie's name? Dominic Hasek.
Hasek. Yeah. But I'll give you my best memory from that stadium though, because I did go there. I think I want to say it was 2006 or 2007. It was a Depeche Mode concert. Had awesome seats. We bussed in, so we didn't have to drive back. It was freaking awesome. That's the best memory.
And that's part of the problem. That's the problem, that is your memory from that it wasn't at a Coyotes game, that it wasn't at a whiteout game or any of that. They got away from what made them the Coyotes and what made them special. And they're not even owned by anybody right now. They're owned by the fucking NHL. Like it's just been a joke of a franchise, and it's hard to support a franchise like that. And that's the problem. I mean, just to answer the question that I posted to everybody, I mean, shit, you're looking at 5 to 10 years until they're even championship worthy. But I mean, you got to start somewhere. Jay, are you a fan of hockey at all? Do you watch or?
I respect the sport. When the NHL finals are going, I'll tune in for a game or two. I mean, it's a very physical sport. It's just not my cup of tea, really. There isn't really much of a scheme or anything like that I can see. I'm not a hockey guy, but with the Coyotes, as long as I've been alive, they haven't been anything really, as far as I know. It's always been like the Penguins, the Blackhawks.
The Ducks a little bit here.
Yeah, the Ducks, and like the Seattle Kraken. That like again, beautiful team name. I love the color. It's a good looking team. Even if they're ass, like it's.
But I mean, you look at the Vegas Golden Knights. Like, come on, man. You get a team that comes in and within however many years they're going to the Stanley Cup Finals, and they're one of America's darlings. Like it's just, it shines a really bad light to the Coyotes, to having arguably the best jersey ever, arguably one of the better logos in sports too. And then you just take it away, do something stupid with it, much like the Diamondbacks did, which we'll get into them too. And then all the scandal stuff, all the cheating, all the stuff going to court, and just it's been a black eye almost on the community. It definitely has been for the city of Glendale. It's been a black eye. It's been frustrating for them. So they're 6 to 10 years away. A lot of us don't watch hockey. If they were good again, I mean,
I would watch 100%.
Amit, you would probably watch too, considering the memories that you just told me are similar and resonate to what I went through. So,
dude, if we had a superstar player that I could like be like, okay, that's like Book, right? Like a Book or a Kyler guy, that a young dude that's just coming up, that's just balling. I'd watch every game, or at least watch the highlights.
Yeah, I still pay attention to the scores. I'll check ESPN. Oh, cool, they're winning. Oh, cool, they're losing. Whatever it may be, but I don't go out of my way to watch it. And that's the sad part. I did watch it when it was in the bubble. I watched it then when they lost to the Predators because there was nothing else going on in the world at that time. So I definitely watched then. Didn't have the fans there, so it definitely wasn't as exciting. But I like hockey. I love the sport. I love the game. I used to play it when I was a kid, definitely in Arizona, get on those rollerblades and head out to the, park or wherever you go. So it's a shame what they've done. It's a damn shame. I think they're the low tier team, definitely like on the totem pole, even lower than the Mercury at this point. They're the low team, maybe lower than the Rattlers. And it's a shame of what the franchise became, considering what they would sell out like every damn game when they first came here, dude. Yeah. And they were going to the playoffs every year and losing in the first round every year. But that whiteout was special. And it's here. That magic is here. It's still here. They just need to turn that shit around and take it seriously. Arizona Diamondbacks. Fuck, man. Just, I don't get it with this sport, with this team either, in this franchise. Ken Kendrick is an absolute fucking cancer to this team. They decide to bring back their manager, Torey Lovello, after he's done nothing over the past 2 or 3 years. They stick with Nick Ahmed at shortstop, a dude that can't hit over 265 to save his damn life. Granted, yeah, he's great at fielding the ball, but that's not winning us games anymore, is it? And we go through superstars like it's nothing, like a Justin Upton and then a Paul Goldschmidt. Now we've got Ketel Marte, who looks like he could be the truth, and we surround him with old pitchers. Like, I made a vow I wasn't going to watch the Diamondbacks until they signed an ace. They signed Zach Greinke, an old dude that's not an ace anymore. Oh, okay, fuck. Okay, you're trying. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, you get rid of him, and then who are you going to bring in? Mad Bum? A dude that's old and washed?
Remember Russ Ortiz?
Russ Ortiz? That's, oh, God, Jesus. Like, their bullpen has been trash. Their logo is trash. Their uniforms are trash, except for the serpentine logo and the hat. I don't know if you guys saw those. Those are sick.
Cream colored ones. Yeah.
Those are absolutely
I love
sick.
it.
But, they're like a specialty.
I love this one.
I did like that one too. And I like the one with the teal on it. But, like, again, come on, man. Come on. How hard is it to go back to this?
Yep.
Like, stupid decisions that actually do push fans away. When those games come on and they're wearing these jerseys, everybody gets a little more pepped up. Can't they see that? So we trade away Paul Goldschmidt. We get Starling Marte last year, and then we end up being trash and trade his ass away, and he has a great year this year. Injuries hit us real bad at one point this year, and we're just okay with rolling Torey Lovello out. That's just kind of my mishmash of BS that the D-backs have done. I want to open the floor to either one of you guys and give some Diamondback thoughts.
You can go ahead, Amit.
Yeah. So,
don't everybody talk at once.
Yeah, because I really don't have anything good to say about the Diamondbacks. Everything I have about the Diamondbacks is a memory. That hat that I'm showing you is from 2017 playoffs. So, like,
JD Martinez here.
JD Martinez, Paul Goldschmidt. Why did we trade him? The thing is, this is something I don't understand with baseball, is when you have a player that is the best player at a position in his prime, why do you trade him for prospects? What are you getting back that's better? Because your team already sucks. Like, you're just getting worse. You know what I mean? And I can't watch baseball and see Zach Wheeler, Trevor Bauer, Max Scherzer. I can go on a list of freaking pitchers.
Prospects in general, yes.
That we just trade away because we don't want to pay them. And then we get to a point with the guys that we have, and then we don't pay them. So the Tampa Bay Rays have figured some way out to just constantly just kind of like rebuild it, or the Marlins, like all those teams, they constantly find a way to like rebuild a team and win, even if they don't want to pay anybody. And we haven't figured that how to do that yet. So I think that's the caliber of team we have, is that we're just going to be some fucking poverty franchise that figures it out every 4 or 5 years because we have all these prospects, but we don't because we always trade them. Right. And we know how to develop other players. So I have nothing good to say about this team. They should just fucking move away. I'm like, honestly, because I'm like they want a new stadium. Are you serious?
Like what the hell have they done recently that deserves that? Like absolutely nothing.
Where's that going to be?
I mean, can we talk about the 2017 run and Archie Bradley's fucking triple?
Right, and we trade him.
I mean, granted, he turned around and sucked. I mean, there's something about having Diamondback players here, and then they leave and they have success. And I can picture his face. I know the jersey number. Our third baseman this year that went to Milwaukee and then just blew up with Milwaukee. He was just this year. If anybody in the chat knows,
I don't remember.
I'm having a hard time remembering, but dudes just leave and they go on and they have fucking success, and it's so frustrating to watch. Which leads me to believe that our coaching staff sure as hell can't develop at all. But it's okay. He's coming back next year, and next year is going to be different, right? No, what the fuck are you talking about? It's so frustrating. Jay, your turn. Spew your Diamondbacksness.
So I remember the 2017 run. It was a pretty good season. I watched a lot more baseball than I usually did at that time. I'm not particularly a baseball guy, and if I was really going to root for a team, it would be Indians. I always kind of grew up as a Cleveland Indians guy.
Rejected.
But it's the Guardians now. But the baseball games I've been to recently, like there's something off in there. Like no one is like enthusiastic. Yeah, like everybody has a Goldschmidt shirt or jersey on, and then Randy Johnson. Like it's like those are the only two we can really like rep. And
Gonzo, or
yeah,
you can't rep Kurt Schilling anymore, that's for sure. I mean, I still see a couple of Tony Womack and Steve Finley jerseys whenever I gone to a game back in the day.
Those are deep dives. If you can find like a Reggie Jackson jersey or like a Durazo, if you can find a Durazo jersey.
Ooh, I'd love an Erubio Durazo jersey. I actually have a signed Junior Spivey second base card that has part of his jersey on it. I was a big Junior Spivey fan back in the day. But you're talking about a team that had 8 fucking players go to the All-Star game, and Damian Miller was the MVP. And like here we are now. Like, sorry, Jay, I'm pissed. Keep going.
Oh, that's all good. It's just like, yeah, when they changed the logo, I'm like, why? Like that turquoise A on you is amazing. I love that logo. And them changing the color schemes around. I mean, I like the serpent beige ones that released, but it's just everything that's off with the Diamondbacks organization. Like the fact that I hear more about how the Coyotes are doing than the Diamondbacks says a lot, and I live locally, so it's just hard, you know. Like I like the Padres and the Seattle Mariners and like Pittsburgh, like they have
Tampa, as Amit said.
Tampa, yeah, like they have like this like 2 to 3 year stretch that they're like a really good team, and then they go kind of like unnoticed for like 1 to 2 years, and they're back, and it's like the Diamondbacks haven't done anything since 2017, and like I don't see it progressing anytime soon if they don't just totally rebuild from the top down. So like I don't know personally, but it's frustrating. It really is, because I have so much Diamondback shit, and I just don't wear it because it's like
it's embarrassing.
It's hard to, yeah.
I like changing to the Diamondback D, which is like a cool secondary logo, but making that like your primary logo is like awful. Ken Kendrick, the I think he's like the majority owner and managing partner or something like that for the D-backs, and also donated a bunch to QAnon, which, you know, says a lot about him. He's just been an absolute cancer to this organization for I don't know how long. He's been outspoken about certain things, yet signs Torey Lovello to additional years. And we go through this after next year, 2023 season. Yeah, we'll sign a new coach and we'll do really good for the first year. And then we'll tank again. Just like we always do. We always do good the first year. First year with Hale did really good, right? First year with Lovello did really good, 2017. And now look, they just cannot develop players, especially when they get to the major league level. They're going to deal away Ketel Marte. They're going to deal away Mad Bum for some trash prospects that are going to come in return that'll eventually get dealt away. And it's like you say that there's no energy in the building. That's because there's no energy in the front office, dude. There's no energy to try to get better year over year, be aggressive. No, we're going to sell players. The second we get a couple good players, they want to sell them off. So it's, dude, fuck that team. It's so frustrating because I love watching a baseball game in the spring on a Sunday, dude. I'll sit there for 3.5 hours and have 3 or 4, 5, 6 or 7 beers and watch it. I love the strategy of it. I love the chess moves. I love bringing in a lefty versus a righty, or why you would do that, or a lefty versus lefty, or why you're going to walk somebody. I love the chess moves of it. I love baseball video games too. I mean, I'm just a sports junkie. I stayed up to watch the damn, what's the on the ice when you roll it out there and
I don't know what it's called, but
curling.
Yeah.
I stayed up to watch the curling gold medal game back in the 2018 or 19 Winter Olympics, whenever that was. So I'm a sports junkie. I watched a whole lot of Olympics, and Olympic volleyball was a lot of fun. So I'll watch everything. But watching this team, watching this manager, dude, I don't want anything a part of it. And they're ass right now. They're just ass, and they need to go away. I want to talk about Arizona State just real quick. Arizona State basketball is really at a, I don't know. They're at a turnpike here where they can get off on one exit and go one way, or they can get off at another exit and fire Bobby Hurley after this year, or he's going to walk. He has had amazing recruiting classes. He has had amazing talent. We've gone, if it wasn't for the COVID shutdown year, we would have gone 3 straight years to the tournament, which is something, none of his other predecessors ever did. But, he hasn't gotten farther than some of them. He has gotten to the championship game in the Pac-12 tournament, which is something Herb Sendek never did. And last year was just a letdown. Josh Christopher coming in, Marcus Bagley. You had all these dudes. It was just lined up for this perfect season, and it just fucking exploded. And it was awful. And he talked about needing to recruit better and needing to recruit guys that, just want to go after it and get better. And they have 3 returning players this year, all good players. I love them all. Kamani Lawrence and Jalen Graham, excuse me. And then he brings in these dudes, Marion Jackson, Jay Heath from Boston College. And he talks about how this group is so tight knit and that we really could see something special out of this group. So recruiting was never bad. Roster construction was always my thing with Bobby Hurley. And if he can figure it out this year, I can see Arizona State basketball going a long way for longer with Bobby Hurley, because I think he's going to outlast Ray Anderson, the athletic director. Arizona State football, if it's not this year, it's not going to be for the next 4 to 5 years. Jay, you've been doing a lot of the post-game stuff with me, so I appreciate you with Arizona State football. You've kind of heard a lot about this too, how this team ain't going to be back next year. A lot of players are probably going to transfer. A lot of the coaches are going to be let go, or they will resign, or whatever it happens to be, because of all the recruiting scandals and alleged stuff that kind of went on. What are you seeing of Arizona State this year? Because this is the make or break year. We're not going to talk about next year or the year after. Like, what have you seen from ASU football this year? Because there's a big game against Utah where my wife went to school. And so we're going to have a interesting Saturday night party. But what have you seen from them so far?
Arizona State football this year has been sort of the best in the Pac-12, relatively speaking. Every other team in the Pac-12 is very up and down. UCLA started off good, but then they lost to Fresno State. Fresno State's been kind of the Achilles heel for a lot of teams on this side of the country. Like Oregon, just lost.
Yep.
I'll definitely say ASU will probably win the Pac-12, but to get to a bowl game and go against some of the high caliber teams that are around, it's going to be tricky.
I agree.
I like Herm as a person and stuff. This is the first time I've seen him coaching, so I don't really have much of a sample size when it comes to his overall game planning and stuff. But as far as I've seen, I think he has the capability of coaching and stuff. But yeah, with the cheating stuff and the illegal recruiting, that isn't going to get you far. Yeah, like Alabama and Auburn get away with it like every year, but no one's going to say anything about that. So
It's just different, man.
Yeah, so everything that I've seen from ASU so far, ASU football in that matter has been relatively good. They should be BYU. I don't know why they didn't, but I mean I know why, but they should have beat BYU. But this Utah game is a very, 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 very big game because after this game, the last time I remember. Like the competition level kind of goes down a little bit.
Exactly.
So like I'm hoping that they can pull out a win on Saturday. But as far as ASU basketball, I was gonna tune in because I went to high school with Jalen House, Eddie House's kid, and so he committed to ASU, and I was like, all right, I'll watch a little bit of him. Then COVID happened. And so he ended up transferring. I don't know where he went, but
he went to New Mexico, like of all places. So
yeah, he went to like New Mexico.
I loved him too. He should have played more. He was one of those dudes that Bobby Hurley was talking about, but he was like, "No, fuck this. I've had enough of this team. I'm out."
Yeah. So, like, good luck to him if he ever sees this. But like, I'm gonna be tuning in watching ASU basketball. I've always
boy.
Yeah, so I'll be here with you watching just because I'm curious, I would always before watching ASU basketball, I always just watch the big schools like Gonzaga and UConn and Duke. Like I'll just watch those teams because U of A basketball is up and down. ASU hasn't really made the tournament as far as I know in the last couple of years. So yeah, I'm gonna be tuning in, and hopefully you hype them up.
I'm curious. I'm curious this year. How do you bring in like almost a brand new team, and how do you get them to play right away and play the right way? Which he's saying all the right things that they're doing. It's curious. It's an interesting storyline, something to really look forward to at the end of November here when football is winding down. Arizona State football, you're right on. I'm a big Arizona State baseball supporter. We brought in a new coach. You're gonna know him, Amit. His name is Willie Bloomquist. We brought in
really?
yeah. They brought in a new coach. They fired Tracy Smith, who was always good at recruiting, not so much good at anything else. So we brought in a former Arizona State player. It is MLBU. Most players to have ever been drafted into the major league has come from Arizona State baseball. Reggie Jackson went there.
Really?
Barry Bonds went there. We can go down a huge list. It is MLBU. So big supporter of them. They've just, when was it? A couple years ago, they went like 23-0 to start a season. They just blew up and didn't even make it out of the super regionals and over to Omaha. Like he was just an absolute awful coach. He was. So Willie Bloomquist is in. You love it when a former Sun Devil comes back and takes the reins. Former D-back as well too. We all have fond memories of Willie when he played for us, and he was that utility dude that could play right field, second base, first base even if you needed to, third base, pinch hit, whatever you needed. So I'm really hoping ASU baseball turns it around. Did I miss anything? Did I hit everything? Are we good there? Can we talk about some Browns and Cardinals?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Amit, Browns and Cardinals. Is this the week we take our first L?
I think it is. I think we've had some luck going in this far into the season. I think we're dealing with the 10 a.m. game. We're also dealing with a running game, which is not like what we've seen. Nick Chubb is a different animal than what we've seen.
Number one rushing attack.
Yeah. Even though we've seen Derrick Henry, but it was different because we were able to neutralize everything else with man-to-man. I feel like we're going to take an L here, but I'm okay with that because at some point we have to lose. Like if we won this game, then we'll have a whole nother conversation because then I'm saying that, Chandler Jones or JJ Watt, if he plays Chandler Jones, is stepping up and having a monster game. Or there's a turnover. We have multiple turnovers that we get something in that nature where we win the game. But at this point, I think the spread was like minus or +3 for us. So
considering,
yeah. And I don't know what the weather's going to be like right now in Cleveland, but I feel like we're due for a loss.
Jay.
I'm kind of torn here. A lot of you not know, but my family is like Cardinals and Browns. So Browns have a special place in my heart. So when they finally got Baker, I knew the franchise was going to turn around.
Rejected.
Man, I'm just getting rejected tonight. I know. But I'm a big Baker Mayfield guy. He gets blamed for a lot of stuff that is kind of out of his control. But when it comes to this game, it's tricky. This can go in a lot of different ways. We have a lot of injuries going on right now. Like the Rodney Hudson thing is a big loss. Most likely Chandler Jones isn't going to play because I saw before we got on that he was having COVID symptoms today.
Correct.
So he's not going to be playing Sunday. And then Max Williams, a big ass loss. So
that sucked. That sucks so bad.
Yeah. We need to bring back Larry Fitzgerald to play tight end.
I want that, but
we need Fitz to tight end.
And Arnold.
Yeah, and Arnold.
Well, is he available?
Well, he's already been traded once.
I think he's signed with somebody.
He signed with Carolina and he got traded.
Yeah. If he's not on a practice squad.
Yeah, exactly.
But this game is a little tricky because the Cleveland's losses this year kind of were the defense's fault. So I think that's where we can really shine. I think this game is going to be a shootout. Myles Garrett, he's having a pretty decent year, but he's he disappears for 2-3 quarters, and so it's Kyler has the legs. Their D line isn't the quickest. Their backfield isn't necessarily the best. So that's the reason why Cleveland lost to the Chargers, lost to the Chiefs. So it's definitely going to be a shootout, hopefully. But I can see the Cardinals winning, but I think we are due for a loss. This Browns team is very good. They're Nick Chubbs and Kareem Hunt, those two together are insane. Their O-line is great. Baker Mayfield, great on the run and better in the pocket. So, if we win this game, there'll be a lot to talk about, but I think this might be a loss this weekend. But, let's see. I have a lot of faith in Kyler. I haven't had any issues with Cliff as of late. Vance Joseph's game plan when it comes to doing these teams have been nothing but adjustments. So we can definitely catch them lacking, and I think Cleveland thinks that they can beat us. So maybe they're definitely mad from that Chargers game for sure. They should have won that, in my opinion. But
that was an incredible game, by the way.
It was a great game. The refs fucked up a really good game. On both sides. I'm not
Water's
just backing. Wet. Yeah, water's wet. So this is going to be a great game. I hope this gets some good viewership because it's going to be a scrappy one. So I'm really looking forward to Sunday watching this game. But I have Cardinals winning 24-14.
Hey, someone's got to be positive here. I like it. You did make a good point. I'm not going to count out Vance Joseph and his defensive scheme. He proved me wrong against the Rams. He proved me wrong against the Titans that first game of the year. Why not? I could see it. I'm a little afraid to go 6-0, you guys. I'm a little afraid to go 7-0, 8-0, and then what if we get to 11 or 12-0 like the Steelers did, and then you flop, and then you're trying to recover at the end of the season. There's something to be said for having a loss at the beginning of the season too, to be able to figure out how to react to it and kind of move forward. There's also something said for going 17-0 and going to the playoffs as well. So it just depends on what side of the coin you're on. The injuries are starting to pile up. It's going to be Dennis Gardeck season, rushing instead of Chandler Jones, which I am all about. And our pass rush didn't seem to be an issue last year when Chandler Jones was out. Granted, we had, what's the dude's name that went over to Carolina that's having a great season right now that we got rid of, that linebacker out of Temple, right?
Reddick?
So he had what's that? Reddick. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, but it seemed as if we were able to dial things up, and the pass rush, I'm not so worried about. We still got dudes back there. We still got Marcus Golden. We got Gardeck. JJ Watt's going to do his thing, and then you can throw in Devon Kennard as well too, right?
Yeah, no, I think, I mean, we'll have to see. Like, we're gonna have to see this game. I think we're gonna learn a lot about our depth in this game with the secondary and with some of the other players on defense. Offense, I mean, honestly, if Kyler Murray leaves healthy this game, I'm happy with that, because he looked like he got hurt in the last game.
Yeah,
and I just want him to stay healthy.
Yeah, I completely agree. We also don't know the status of Marco Wilson or Byron Murphy either, by the way.
Yeah. Like, if you want to look at both teams on paper, the Cardinals have a better defense, everything from the D line to the backfield. And then when it comes to offensively, like, Odell isn't getting the targets.
Right.
And like, Baker is just, like, kind of carrying right now. So we can really exploit their offense pretty quickly. So hopefully Vance has a good game plan for that, because it's kind of hard to keep Baker having less than like 3 touchdowns a game. So this can kind of go either way. But I think personally we should have a loss early in the season, because I don't want to have that 2015 Carolina Panthers run. We just sweep they sweep everybody, and by the time they get to the Super Bowl, it's a crapshoot. Like
they're tired.
They're tired. Like, I don't want Kyler Murray just like pounding the ground and shit like Newton was. So like if we're gonna have a loss, let it be the Cleveland game. Let's just get all. We
got the Texans the next week after that.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think we have a bye week 3 weeks from now. So
no, it's like 4 or 5. It's at the end of November. So after
really?
After that, I think we got the Thursday game against the Packers.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but I mean, 1 week at a time. Win this week. You know, you're talking about going against the Texans and being 7-0, and then it's really, really a special season. But I'm predicting a loss as well too. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. How they play and how it happens will be a completely different story, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we're gonna be back with you Saturday night after the Arizona State Sun Devils at the Utah Utes game. I'm definitely going to be quite a bit tipsy. So please join us for a lot of fun on Saturday night after the football game. Cause I am having, I want to tell you guys this. I'm doing some different stuff on the Traeger for the game. So as I said, my wife went to Utah. I'm an Arizona State fan. We're going to invite over just a few small friends, like 3 friends. So like the 5 of us. We're going to have the outdoor fire pit going. We're going to bring the TV outside. I'm doing some bacon wrap stuffed with like imitation crab meat and something else, shrimp, and I'm gonna put that on the Traeger. I'm gonna do some Korean barbecue spare ribs. I've never done them before. Chinley, if you're watching, Arizona State fan on Twitter, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you getting to me this recipe. So I can't wait to try that. And I'm going to buy some new whiskey, try out a new recipe on the smoker with some smoked fruit to put in it. So it's going to be a good time. So join us Saturday night. I'm going to be tipsy. Hopefully Jay here will have an adult beverage or 2 with me, and we're going to talk about a win. I promise from the bottom of my heart, pinkies crossed, feet crossed, whatever, we will be with you Sunday night. 8:30 Valley time. I promise you, we will be there. We're going to talk about the Cleveland game. We're going to go into the Texans game next week. So if we lose this week, we got the Texans waiting for us on the other side. Great opportunity to go 6-1. We have a control over the NFC West. Catch me on NFC West, the Quest for the West with 49ers Cutback. I think that premiered today or tomorrow. Really good episode with Alex. We always enjoy having him on as well too. So thank you, Alex. And then next Wednesday, we'll be back as well, too. Amit, you're looking nice and clear, and we can see you now. You're not all pixelated. Yeah. Leave us with some wise words, please.
Well, I just want to give props to Alex, because last week he said the Niners were going to win 17-13. I think that's what his prediction was.
Oh, he did.
And the score was 17-10. Yeah. So he knew his defense was going to step up. They did. In fact, I think he went into detail how the defensive line was going to shut us down. So I'm going to give him props, and I'm just going to leave it there.
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about. Smart guy. So go follow him in 49ers Cutback. we're a Cardinals podcast telling you to go follow 49ers. You're not going to do that, but you should at least follow him on Twitter. Smart dude. Jay, words of wisdom, please.
Let's pray for Sunday because, like, if we lose, like, let this be the game. We're injury riddled. We're kind of due for a loss. Yeah, like Amit said, we've had some luck, but let's just hope for the best and let's see what Kyler can do. And let's see what this overall team could do, being as injured as they are. Suns, they're blowing out people in the preseason. Pretty good sign.
Yep, pump the brakes.
Yeah, it was pump the brakes, but beating a bench by 40 and having your bench out there majority of the night, cool. But like everything's looking good with our main sports that we cover. So I will be here Saturday watching the ASU Utah game. I'm actually pretty excited for this game, so I can't wait to watch that. I don't know what uniforms that they're rocking, but
we'll find out tomorrow. Utah's looking good in what they're wearing. They have a really cool white helmet, black jersey, white pants, and white black sock combo. So they're going to look fresh. Hopefully we do as well too. Everybody, thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for coming in, supporting. Please share, like, all that fun stuff. Comment on us as well too. It really helps out with the algorithms. Hop on over to Anchor and donate to the podcast if you feel obliged to, and hit up Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcast on that platform. We really appreciate everybody. I'm not going to leave with the intro music. We are just going to peace out. And my little word of wisdom is forgiveness is divine. Gabe and I from the Valley Podcast has officially squashed everything. We were not going to work together. We're not going to do any guest appearances or nothing like that, but it is squashed. And I think you can tell by in the chat all of a sudden randomly that is gone as well too, the trolling. So go figure. If we can get over it, whoever that is, whoever that was, you can get over it as well too. Forgiveness is divine. Do the right thing. Be good people, and we'll see y'all later. Go Devils, go Cards, go Suns, go Merc, and fuck the Yotes and fuck the D-backs, right?
Pretty much.
All right. Later, guys. Thank you. Peace.
Peace, God.